Plot the set of parametric equations by hand. Be sure to indicate the orientation imparted on the curve by the parametrization. So we need to sketch the graph from negative pi halves to pi halves, and we need to put arrows in it to show what direction it's going. Okay, so I'm going to start by creating a table of values. So we have t, x, and y. And since we're graphing these, I hate how I can't draw straight lines on this thing. Since we're graphing these, as I draw a straight line, the other one is curvy. We just want decimal answers anyway. So if you would rather use degrees and just plug various numbers into the calculator, as long as it matches the radians that are given, then it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's, yeah. Well, obviously it's not including 90 and negative 90, and that's probably because they are undefined. So let's just go ahead and plug something else in, like 89. If I use degrees, it just makes it easier. Okay, so 2 times the tangent of 89. 2 times the tangent of 89 was 114.6. I doubt that 0.6 is going to matter at all right now. And I'm using a calculator that doesn't do secant. So I need to use 1 over cosine, right? So 1 divided by the cosine of, oh, I didn't do negative 89, I did positive 89. Okay, so I just found positive 89. So if you were following along and were like, wait, how did she get that? I don't know if the answers are just the opposite for the other ones. Are they just negative instead? So if we go to, okay, so 2 tangent negative 89. See, it should be I was like, it can't be positive. Well, it is positive for both, for the positive 89, but what I wrote down was negative 89 because I was going to go from small to big, and then I accidentally typed in positives. So I'm just adapting. So yes, yeah. So the negatives are all negative. Negative 89, all the answers are negative. Positive 89, the answers are all positive. I just wrote that down. It's negative. Oh, that's because cosine is even. Cosine's an even function. So that makes sense. So cosine of negative 89 is that, and then I do 1 divided by that answer. Yeah, okay, cool. Got it. So we want to include 0. Let's throw a 0 in the middle. So the tangent of 0 is 0, is it not? And the cosine of 0 is 90, or I mean the cosine of, yeah, 1 divided by the cosine of 0 is 1. Okay. So then just pick some numbers in between, and if we're just doing decimals anyway, it really doesn't matter what numbers we pick. Um, I don't know, 45 is like halfway in between. Negative 45. Sure, that's fine too. Let me adjust so I make room for all of those. So the reason I did 89 is because we can't do 90, and I want to see what the graph is doing before it gets to 90. So, okay, so 60, 45, 30, negative 30, negative 45, negative 60. Okay, so 2 times the tangent of 60 is 3.5, and 2 times the tangent of 45 is 2. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of these. And then 2 times the tangent of 30 is 1.1. And then I'm pretty sure these will be all the same numbers, just negative. Okay. So then for cosine, let's do, or secant rather, let's do 1 divided by the cosine of 60, which is 2, and 1 divided by the cosine of 45, which is 1.4, and 1 divided by the cosine of 30, which is 1.1. And then those are going to be the same numbers but positive because cosine and secant are even functions. Okay, so sketching our graph. Our x values are positive and negative. Our y values are all positive, so I'm going to want that to be a black line. Adjust it. And then let's drop in these points. I don't know how we want to do that because the numbers go to really big, but if we just think about the central stuff happening, we'll figure that out in a minute. I'm just going to start by graphing these numbers. I'm just going to count by ones, and then these numbers will kind of help us figure out what's going on from there. Okay, so 3.52. So I'm not going to scale it. You could if you wanted to. And then 2, 1.4, and 0, 1, and negative 1.1, 1.1. Oh, I skipped that one, didn't I? Okay. So like just above right there, and then right there, and then this one goes up there. Okay. So I feel like we get kind of a parabola-like shape. Does that make sense? Because it's going to a really big number. However, it's not going. Oh yeah, it is going forever because this is 89 and it's going up to but not including 90. So it honestly has asymptotes at negative 90 and positive 90. Or we could call it oh, I guess the actual 90 or pi halves isn't on our graph. That's just the parameter. So it's getting closer and closer to the point 114.57 and negative 114.57, but it never quite gets, well, it gets to that point. It goes through that point. It just doesn't get to wherever it would get closest to negative 90 and positive 90. It ends up having an asymptote. Now, how do we show the orientation? That's the other part of this question, is that if we start from negative numbers and go to positive numbers because we're starting here and ending here, and I kind of did this backwards, then our orientation would have our arrows going from negative to positive, correct?